Is that person drawing similarly to you? Kill them.
Now, where's Craig when you turn into like a dub stuck?
Kids don't understand that.
Jason!
Sorry.
Kids don't understand that.
Jason!
Wow, this is political propaganda.
Turn into like a dub stuck.
Jason!
Watching my exciting loading bar.
If you can't play well, play loud.
Turn into like a dub stuck.
I still know how to do it.
Kids don't understand that.
Jason! Is that person drawing better than you?
Turn into like a dub stuck.
Apologies to everyone watching. Jason!
Kids don't understand that.
Apologies to everyone watching.
Sorry.
Wow, this is political propaganda.
Drop the bomb.
Kids don't understand that. Welcome, everybody.
Howdy.
Another wonderful. Hey, Jessica. Welcome. Man, I am barely getting this stuff set up in time. Okay. How's everyone doing today? Well, how are you doing, Jessica?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Well, good.
Just working on some stars, drawing some stars today.
Nice.
How about you?
Good. So I got the email this morning that Remind was nominated for an Eisner Award.
What?
Yeah. Just 10 years late, but yeah, so the Macroverse version of it is nominated for Best Webcomic. So I don't know what to say. I'm just waiting for them to realize that they made a mistake.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know what to say. Other than that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be able to say that.
Yeah, I'm honestly not extremely familiar with how that all goes about, but I've heard it's a very highly esteemed thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
wow.
It's like the award for comics. It's like it's not like a little tiny award. It's like the award. Like all the comics try to get Eisner Awards.
So is it like different categories? You said it was nominated for like best webcomic?
Yeah, best webcomic. So at the very bottom of the list, I have the link in the description. The official link with all the list of the nominees that were just announced this morning, and Remind is at the bottom in best webcomic category. So what do you know? I don't know. I don't know how they decide from this point on who wins.
When would they announce it?
I don't know. Well, let's see. It's usually during San Diego Comic-Con when they actually have the award ceremony.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to do an actual award ceremony this year because I don't know if is Comic-Con happening. I don't know. I haven't paid attention to Comic-Con for a long time. But ever since I remember going to the Eisner Awards back in like '94 when we first went to the San Diego Comic-Con, and it was pretty cool. It was like this all fancy event that everyone was hoping to get the awards. So Remind.
Yes.
So now I can put this little Eisner Award nominee stamp next to Remind now.
That's amazing. What?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
weird. It's just weird. I don't understand.
Well,
So I'm like, yeah, okay. Thank you, Eisners.
that will be fun to follow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Rich Ben says, hang on, did you just get nominated? Is this the thing you couldn't believe, Jason? Yeah, it is.
That's right, Ben. Ben's right.
It is the thing I couldn't believe. Welcome, Zach.
Yeah. Whoa, that was quick.
Yeah.
So Jessica.
Mhm.
Oh, hey.
Not much has happened. Just got an Eisner nomination. That's all.
No way.
Yeah, Remind got an Eisner nomination for Best Webcomic.
Woo!
It's on the link.
It's on the link.
Oh.
Yay! Dancing wooden
Hey.
figures. Welcome, Craig.
Hi, thanks.
Wow.
Let's see. Comments. Trevor Nielsen says you got to stay online today to get booted for your controversial topics.
Yeah, did you guys get booted twice?
Yeah,
Yesterday?
both the streams got taken down, and then I appealed them, and then they put them back up. So
Gotta just tiptoe around the algorithm.
yeah, I am going so slow, you guys. So I don't know if you saw in my email to you, but I need to. I decided. Next week I'm just gonna stream on Wednesday, and because I'm so behind on these videos I'm trying to make for whatever it's called that I'm doing. Talking to drawing. I can't even think.
You're still in shock. It's okay.
Yeah, well this was just like half an hour before I went live. I was just like, wait, what? I guess I better put that in the thumbnail. Help.
No, I get it.
And I'm not moving very fast on Phobos either, and so I feel like, okay, the best thing to do right now is just to focus.
Take all next week off with social media anyways, so like.
Yeah, I figured you were going to do that too, so it's all good. I think it's working. And Jessica, you were saying the other day, like, I need to not be streaming so I can focus, and I'm like, yeah, I do too now.
Yeah, as good as
That's
the
why
streaming is.
Yeah, it's fun, but the last 2 days I had some drawing that I was like, I'm gonna look angry if people like. I just get very concentrated and I wouldn't be able to talk. So I'm like, I gotta focus on getting this drawn out. So I get it.
Yeah.
Because it's fun to chat and socialize.
We're working on the same spread. This is ridiculous.
Hey, you've been working on that spread all week, haven't you?
Practically.
Well, you keep getting booted.
I feel bad now, Jason, because I feel like the last couple times I've been on, I talked way too much and kept distracting you.
Well, no, the stream in itself is it's good and bad. You know, it's like figuring out that balance.
That's what it is, a balance.
I'm trying to. I keep coming back to this page, and so everything's on random weird layers, and so just every time I look at it, I'm like, what is that I'm trying to fix? I don't know.
It's not like me right now, like trying to figure out where I am all the time.
I can't even find the layers that I want to work on. And then, a conversation starts, and then I stop trying to look for it until the next time I try.
Okay, you focus.
Guess what came in right before the stream started?
What?
All the prints.
Ooh. You want to show them off?
Yeah, sure. They're huge. They're 11 by 17. And, when you order them, you forget how big 11 by 17 is.
Let me get
like in size comparison to my head.
Ooh.
Wow, that is big.
Yeah, and they're thick too. They're like, I forgot what they're called.
Cardstock.
Cardstock. Yeah, they're heavy. Things are heavy.
Really vibrant colors. Wow.
Yeah. No, this is in CMYK. They did it in CMYK. And
that is gorgeous.
Just the colors just slightly to get the blues right.
That's nice. Yeah.
But so I'm like, now I'm torn, Jason, because I was telling you, I was like, man, I think I'm gonna go with that old one because I know how it looks. But man, the quality of these prints, they do comics too. This is the Mix'em.
That's nice. Yeah. Well, the thing is, RGB or CMYK, it all has to be converted to CMYK. It's just what printer can convert it and make it look good, and how well can you adjust it to make it pop when it's printed on paper. Those look great. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice and vibrant. And that's
I really like that.
Yeah, it's like, and so like I got now 600 prints sitting over there, and my wife's not going to be too happy about it because it's all this more clutter in the main room. And then I finally got the little little one
cool.
that everybody gets.
Okay, yeah.
What size is that?
Huh?
What size was that?
That one was, I think this is a 8x5.
8x5.
Yeah, 8x5.
Yeah.
So
that's nice.
Or 200 of those little ones, just so everybody could have one. And probably whenever I send out any sort of commissions and whatnot, I'll probably use those to and I'll write my information on the back or something. I didn't even know, but they had an option where you could actually print something on the back, both sides, and it wasn't that much more. And I was like, man, I missed an opportunity where I could have done an advertisement of the book and the artist that made that print, and whether you could contact them and where the project is. I had this missed opportunity, and I was like,
Wow.
Next time.
I missed that opportunity the first like 3 things I printed, and then finally I did on, what was it? There was one of the flyers I made. Here, let me find it. I'll show you how I did it. But go on. Go back to business. What was it? There was one of the flyers I made. Oh, I can't find it now.
I see.
Here it is. So I was pretty proud of this. I haven't printed it back up again. Let me get me full screen. So it's this thing that I was able to hand out at conventions, and then on the back it has a little sell sheet. Like, here's all my books, and these are the places you can find me, and my bio, and so it's nice because you get the art print, but then you get the marketing.
Nice.
So
Information and art.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, oh man, those would have been perfect, especially those small ones. Those small ones would have been perfect.
Yeah.
To advertise on. But I'll just have to make sure that there's a really good place in the book that tells you where you can find everybody and has all their information.
Oh yeah.
The thank you page is already huge because of like everybody that's helped me. I've been keeping track of everybody that's kind of helped me along the way.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah.
Anybody in the thank yous, and then there's like the these people made it happen. The actual crowdfunding list of people.
Yeah.
I've never had that big of a list, and I'm like, man, I gotta make the font smaller.
Yeah.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it really is, and so cool. Like,
I have to say that is an amazing little perk to receive a book that has your name in it as a contributor, as someone that supported it. That's a wonderful perk.
Yeah, no, I've my first one I was able to do it, but it was like the small list of like 30 people. So like the very first thing you do is you open the book and it literally just says this book was made possible by these people. And everybody got like a really big shelf space. But on this one, it's like it was made possible by this huge amalgamation of people. It's still not anything like Cithra or anything where you have like 1,000 people. That's my next goal. Got to add a 0 to it.
Well, even with my books, I have it be a higher tier that you get to get your name in it, and I try to limit it to like 80 or so because otherwise it just gets too much. So, but it's a cool idea to just put everyone's name in it too. A big page of names.
Well, I got it from this is before crowdfunding was huge. As there was a guy named Dan Levisi, and he made this book called Last Man Standing. Wait, I'll go grab it real quick. It's huge and it's beautiful. This thing, like, look how big this thing is. This thing is huge. It's this huge freaking book.
Oh wow, yeah.
And it's actually fairly thick for it being so big. And in the back, though, for everybody who bought it during the pre-purchase phase, he put their name in the back, and he did it like a Yellow Pages phone book.
Oh wow, that's great.
So this huge. Just pages and pages and pages of people.
Yeah.
Like 5,000 people.
is it, how many pages is it? Like,
Oh, the actual book?
no, of people. I'm just trying to figure out
Oh, okay.
if,
Hold on, let me.
does that it doesn't, it's not annoying to see a million pages of people's names, is it? As a
Right,
buyer
well,
of
I
the
mean,
book?
at the back, you know.
Yeah.
It's nice that he set it up all alphabetically like that, so each person can find their name quickly and
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3 pages.
Okay.
It's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, no,
You know
it-
what they should do is if there's any like duplicates, if there's like a lot of people named John, they should just put one John times like, you know, the uppercase like 10 to the 10th power or something. Maybe not. There's probably a lot of Johns, but
John to the power of 12.
yeah.
yeah, no, like this was basically he made it to be a pitch book for like a movie or you know, to like basically build a universe.
Yeah.
So it's literally just like littered with random things about each character and just, you know, kind of trying to build the aesthetic of the whole entire world that they live in and whatnot.
Yeah.
Man, I need to look through this thing again. This thing is gorgeous. But sheesh. I don't want to get in trouble for showing it the inside.
Mm.
Get your stream taken down.
That never happens.
Once a week is good for me. So
We have a question in the chat, and
Yeah.
it's phrased rather great. It's for Jason. It says, question, Jason, almighty Eisner nominee, where did you set up your mailing list, and what was the most effective way you found to build it?
I've used a lot of different services over the years. I've used MailChimp, which I still think is probably the best one to start with because it's free. It's not like you're going to have a marketing campaign through a mailing list, like where you have automated emails and all kinds of stuff you're organizing, which is what you have to start paying for. But just to start a list, MailChimp is really great. When I used it way long time ago, 10 years ago or so, it was a little clunky in some ways. And so I switched over to another one called Aweber, which is a lot more, it feels more like you're working with QuickBooks. It doesn't feel artist friendly at all. And then MailChimp got a lot better with their design and the way it worked and stuff. So I kind of wish I would have stuck with MailChimp. I used Aweber for a long time though. Very trusted mailing list service. But then recently I switched over to this thing called ConvertKit, which is a little bit more expensive, but it's very artist friendly. And I mean, it's a lot more expensive, but it's artist friendly, and I like the features that it has. And I wanted to do some a bunch of experimenting with mailing lists, like get people to get on this list for maybe potentially reading comics through a mailing list. So there's a bunch of reasons I switched over to that. Not to mention, it's just, if you see it, it's just super artist friendly, and I like that. But it's quite expensive. So I don't know how worth it is starting out. I think MailChimp is just the way to go. So yes, but I value my mailing list a lot. So because that's kind of where a lot of my success from my campaigns comes from, is just having built a mailing list. I am starting to see that newer, more recent mailing lists are more valuable than old mailing lists, because people will just stop checking that email that they signed up with 10 years ago or whatever it is. And so there's a lot more value in somehow gathering a group of people right now onto a mailing list and then pitching the product that you're talking about to them within the last year of acquiring them on your mailing list. So the question is, how do you do that? How do you get a big group of people within a year to join your mailing list? And so, I don't know the answer to that, but I have ideas. But
I think
What was it you offered to get people to say yes? Here's my email address.
Well, I just okay. This is a weird question because it's a great question. Sorry, Greg. It's just that there's a lot of stuff that people can do to get people on their mailing list easily and quickly, but I think it attracts the wrong people because then they just want something for free or they want if you promise like weekly updates with helpful information or something, you're kind of locking yourself into doing that kind of stuff. And so I don't like doing that. I just like to try to just find the people that want to know when my next book is going to be released. And so I try to push my mailing list as the place where you can get notified when I launch a Kickstarter. Maybe you'll get some discounts. The place that I'll give you the newest information, of where to buy my new books and new things that I'm working on. And beyond that, I'm not going to spam you with weekly things unless it's something relevant, and so on my Coffee Table Comics website, I just have a sign up thing that says, if you sign up, I'll give you Remind One for free as a PDF. And so that's kind of the thing to try to get people on. And it serves two purposes. It gets people that may not be familiar with my work an easy way to be able to read it for free, without having to search for it and find it or go, Remind's not even online as a webcomic other than Macroverse now, but you have to pay to get into Macroverse. So I'm trying to just give people something on the mailing list that is exactly what they're coming for, which is a book,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to. I used to try to do other things like I'll give you like tools to make your own comics or whatever, but it's just like it's too removed from what I want, what I'm trying to focus on.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to just keep it about the books and knowing when the next books are coming out and where to get them and being the first to be notified, all that stuff,
Mm-hmm. I think that's really smart, to be honest with you. I'm struggling with the whole social media thing because it can eat up all your time.
Yeah.
And I just want to draw.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I'm editing some video and I just I'm thinking, why am I doing this? This is just eating up all my time.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think it depends on what you're trying to do, though, is because if you're doing Indiegogo or stuff, they allow you now to do that, kind of like not in demand, the other thing where basically it's like, sign up.
Like a pre-campaign, pre-launch.
Yeah, the pre-launch. And that's how I started. I didn't have a mailing list until I started doing that. And then I got a fairly decent amount of people. And then what I did was I went into Google and made a Google group specifically for those people that signed up.
Oh yeah, I've done that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm not using MailChimp or anything like that. I'm just trying to organize it myself because it's actually they made the tools intuitive enough on Google Drive where if you they export a CSV or CVS.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, but you could just like import that straight into an Excel spread on the Google, and then you could literally just take those emails and put them into a group right from there. Mm-hmm. So it's like easy steps of making a quick mailing list.
But wait, you just send them with your personal email then?
Yeah, I just send it with my personal email.
Oh, okay. So that's good. That's good for a certain size of group of people, but I would just warn you not to do that as you grow, because if any one of those people start marking you as spam, which some will because they just forget who you are after a year, then it will flag your personal email as a spam account.
And go make a specific email that's not mine.
Yeah, you definitely want to do that.
Okay.
For sure. But that's one of the big advantages of these mailing list tool subscription type things is you can not get around that stuff, but it doesn't put your email at risk and stuff like that. But I don't know everything about emails and all that garbage. I wish I should go to like college for IT. Yeah. So I did do that though. At first, had a group on Google, but then they changed some of their settings, and this was in 2009 and 10, and they changed some things and made it so that it was harder to do it for some reason. So I didn't even realize that you could still do that. But okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. And yeah, and I'll probably go and make a specific email for any like my topic.
Yeah.
Whenever I decide to actually make a label. Right now it's just me. But
yeah, I would definitely do it before you start marketing your next campaign or anything. Like your campaign is fresh in people's minds because it's what they signed up for. But if you're going to say, okay, hey guys, now my next thing, come over here, that's when people will start being like spam, So
the only thing I used it for was one time to let people know that it launched. You people that want the pre-launch perk, the secret perk, here's a link to the secret perk.
Yeah.
But
it's good because it's immediate. It's like, I mean, it's relevant. It was done recently. The problem comes when the longer you are gathering people's names over a long period of time, people just forget, what they signed up for, or they just lose interest and they just don't want to be bothered, or they're having a bad day, so they mark everything as spam one time.
I get that. You hit a point where you start opening up your email and you have 30 emails that are all things you don't care about on that day, and it just triggers you.
Yeah, I've gone through that phase too, where I'm just like, why? I didn't sign up for your, bunny cup tutorial. I had the strangest thing happen the other day, and I chose to just ignore it. But I had an email from somebody. Well, I got an email from something I subscribed to that was basically saying you requested a password reset, and I didn't. And I'm always cautious around that. But then I got a follow-up email from some stranger saying your email has been found on the dark web with passwords and things, and you should change your passwords. And like he was basically saying that he was a good person who searches for these things and warns people. So I closed the email. I went to the site in question. I did change my password completely separately, but I never responded to that guy. But I have started getting more spam than I used to, and I don't know where it's coming from, but yeah. Well, let me give a couple shout outs to some members here. We got Tobias saying, do it. And, we got Micah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Micah. And he says, great. Wow, great. About the Eisner. And congratulations. Thanks, Micah. Any other members we got? We talked about that question. Here's another question from Jason. Do you think that life adversities create better art? Not always. Sometimes it makes you stop doing art. I think everyone has adversities, so I think it's just depends on how you want. Like sometimes people want to just focus on, emo stuff, and then it attracts the emo people, and it's all adversities, and life's so hard. And some people who go through hard times do really beautiful art, and it's really happy, and it's to get them away from thinking about the bad things. And then there's a combination of both. So I don't know. I I don't think you have to go through really horrible things in order to make good art, though. If that's kind of the question, you can see horrible things that other people are going through if you want that kind of inspiration. You know. Let's see. Related question: does success hinder the creation of good art? I think this is kind of a similar answer. I think it can, and it can inspire it too. You know.
Yeah. There's plenty of examples of especially what was it like you could say like 5 years ago when digital stuff started becoming really big. All of a sudden, all these artists became really popular, and then where are they today? Can't find them because they got so big that they lost sight of what they were doing, and then now they're like in the shadows, not doing anything. You never hear about them.
Yeah.
You know,
I wonder though if some of that is because they're like, okay, I don't need this online thing as part of my life, right?
Yeah, because
maybe they're, maybe they learn their lessons and they're like, okay, I'm going to just start a company and get investors and do it without the online persona, because I can see how, like, there's a lot of times where I felt that way, okay, I'm done with this online thing. Like I can use it, but I don't need to be the face online that people know, So it might be that too. I don't know. Or they might just have mental breakdowns and then be living on the street. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of that paradox of like, what would you do if you won the lottery?
Yeah.
And the majority of the people that don't have money, then come into a huge amount of money, they usually end up like really wrecking their life in a way that is irreversible,
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I think it's the same sort of paradox. You come into success so quickly especially if you haven't had a taste of any sort of success, you don't know what not to do. So you make a lot of mistakes. So I don't know. You got to be really careful with that.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm still around because I feel like I had really good success with Remind and stuff back when Kickstarter started and all that stuff. And the big question is, am I going to be able to continue? That's the question. Is this sustainable? And I feel like it is, as long as you have a level head, and I don't know. New surprises happen every day, like Eisner nominations for a thing I made 10 years ago.
So cool.
It really is. Now you get to put Eisner nominated on the cover.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's true. When I reprint it, I could do that.
You could totally do that.
Put it on the site, Eisner nominated.
We'll see right here on my screen. I put a little Eisner Award nominee.
There you go.
There you go.
I just slap that on there real quick.
You need to print that with like gold leaf or something.
Yeah. I should.
Art.
Art with Kev asks, what's your most popular comic you have ever done that's publicly published? Well, I just got an Eisner nomination for Remind. Somehow. Question, Jason. What's the most popular? Oh, that's the same thing, but with what? Okay, I guess it's the same question. Repeat. Hey, it's Art. Art, did I send you a link? Do you want to come on the show? I don't know if I sent you a link. If you want to come on the show, Art, you're welcome. I would love to have you. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. When I started streaming, I was moving pretty fast on these pages, and now I'm doing like really slow work.
Okay, it's not just okay.
It's what?
When we first started streaming, I was busting out spreads like you were. Like every day, it was like a new spread.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I'll be lucky if I finish the spread in the time we have, and then I have to spend the rest of the day doing the spread.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? Why am I slowing down so much?
Yeah, it's really weird.
You know?
It's really odd. And I remember even asking a question, like one of the first streams, and someone was like, "How long does it take you to do a page?" I was like, 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm working on this thing all day, and it's still not done.
A week. Now it takes a week.
Now it takes a week.
Haha, I've brought you down to my speed. Drag you all down.
Oh no. It's probably why Fuzzy's not here, because he's like, these guys distract me.
Yeah, this is not worth it. I'm sure he just realized that he can't come on a stream with an Eisner Award nominee. Sorry.
Now you're just baiting him.
It's just boggling my mind. I'm just gonna say it as much as I can before they take it away. That's just kind of where I'm at with it, you know.
That's a huge deal, though, Jason. It's a huge deal.
It is a huge deal. That's why it's so weird. It's
it's not surprising to me.
But it's surprising that it's for a comic that I made 10 years ago. That's what's surprising.
Things take time.
Yeah.
Noticed and recognized and
And they've been watching you for 10 years to see if you would like do something that they would be like, we don't want to give him an award for. So it takes 10 years for them to evaluate.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's funny? So the lady who's responsible for it emailed me yesterday about it and was like, don't announce it until I confirm it and all that stuff. And then this morning she emailed me back and said, here's the list, it's confirmed. And so then I was like, oh, I need to get this link from her. So I typed in her email into my email program to find the most recent email. And I was like, oh, there's some old emails from her, like to her. And I was like, what are these? And they were from seriously 9 years ago.
Whoa.
And I had submitted Remind for an Eisner nomination directly to her. And it was right after I printed the book. So I submitted it as a book. And she's like, great, thanks for the copies of the book. I'll send them to all the judges and all that stuff. And then that was the last email I heard from her. So it's like, it's been known, whether she remembers or not, she's seen Remind in the past. And I published it. So it's very interesting. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to email her a reminder. I'm going to make myself get this thing taken away if I keep talking.
Remember not to mention Cherry Pop or whatever it was. What did they come up with?
Yeah, what did Nolan say?
The sour cherries?
I think that's a horrible code name.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nolan.
Yeah.
Cherry grapes.
Probably sour grapes. That would be more appropriate.
Yeah. Oh, art. I have a few myself. Whatever, art. It's all no big deal, Jason. I got a few.
Trevor Nielsen has a statement. You need to put the Eisner stamp on your crown. He knows I have one. Okay. It's the crown from the Lizarian Crimson and Refined. The King's Crown. I need to make that. That would be a good thing to make and have on my shelf.
Ooh.
just for fun, of course, with the Eisner stamp on it. Was the lady you mentioned Jackie Estrada? Yes, I believe so. Let me just look. I'm horrible with names, so I need to double check.
Oh boy.
Do. Yep, it is. That's her. So, Art, since you're if you're watching still, how has the Eisner nominations affected your life? Has it made you very popular, or is it just another day in the office? I kind of know the answer. I mean, I believe I know the answer. I kind of question if any of this stuff means anything. So, it's a nice stamp, though. You can put on a book. Okay, I need to just make some decisions and finish this page. That's just what I need to do.
Old.
I'm fine with this stuff. I'm fine with that. Oh, wait, I'm gonna do some more things. Another reason I'm still working on this is because I would have given it to my assistant, but all the new pages, there's like 4 pages I've kind of X'd out of the story that were just kind of like, yeah, I don't know why I need to do these pages. They don't really have anything to do with anything. And I wasn't really excited about drawing them. And so I just I would do a thumbnail and then I'd be like, I guess I don't need it. Then I'll throw it out. And then today I did some thumbnails for another spread and I was like, I guess I don't need that either. I'll just get rid of that. And so I don't really have anything prepared to move forward. I am getting through pages, but it's because I'm throwing them away. Right?
The book becomes less and less every day.
Well, I've added a new scene to the end, and so it's making the book longer, and so it's making me go, okay, I guess I can shorten it in other ways for especially places that I'm not really excited about. Mm-hmm. So this whole town sequence kind of ends kind of abruptly because it's like there's just things that happen that it doesn't matter, it's like, who was it that said, it was like Steven Spielberg or someone said, you don't need to show a guy getting in his car and driving over to the place and then getting out and saying, hey, how you guys doing? It's just like you just cut to that next scene, and it's just being wise about what you don't have to show. Mm-hmm. Right? It might have been Spielberg, it might have been someone else, but it's just that kind of stuff. I feel like I'm drawing what doesn't even need to be said or even implied. Like, who cares? It doesn't matter if she goes and gets groceries at the grocery store, So let me put it on one of you guys because I keep going back to the comments. Ooh, look at that. Jessica's screen. That's some planetary epicness.
Yeah, it's, oh man, star size comparisons are nuts. They are mind-boggling. Okay, I'll compare. And I'm having a difficult time trying to get actually semi-accurate not calculations, but trying to keep them actually accurate as I can. And I'm having difficulty enlarging things and trying not to crash Clip Studio because of the size of different stars compared to our sun. So,
like that bottom one is taking up 18 pages below.
Yeah. It's called UI Scuti, and it's the largest known or observable star. And it's only in our Milky Way, and I was realizing that I needed to make that little sun printable, so I had to keep blowing up the comparison bigger and bigger. So I'm trying to find that balance. Let's see, what am I doing here? Oh. Science.
Now weird science stuck in my head.
Say again.
Science, the song by Oingo Boingo.
Oh, that's right.
Science.
I was thinking of Portal.
John Gum asks, has anyone hears of Taylor James with Comics Launch? Any thoughts on him? Yeah, I've been on a couple of his podcasts a couple of years ago or so. Nice guy. I don't know a whole lot about him, but he was kind enough to have me on to talk about Kickstarter once, and as well as Patreon once. Yeah.
You got a super chat by a very special person whose Indiegogo just launched today.
Skits Comic.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the super chat. Skits Comics live on Indigo, back at now. Okay, well, let me go check it out.
Yeah.
I remember you sending me an email about it, Skits, a while back.
If they're available, you should try to get them on. Pretty good. They're good peoples.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And it looks like a fun project.
Let me go. I'm going to Indiegogo right now. Skits the Sun, Book 1. Get it on screen. All right. This is it, right, Skits? I guess so. It's the only one that says Skits. Comic book that takes you from the insane asylum to the dream world. So real, it blurs reality. That's some awesome looking art. All right, Skits, you want to come on and talk about this? Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Look at that, $4,000 already. Let me.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah, if you can send him a link, that'd be great. There's a couple other questions I wanted to go to before they got lost in the shuffle. There's a bunch of questions. John Gum said, oh wait, we were talking about that. Jared Helder question, just browsing through the Eisner list, how do you discover new comics to read and inspire you? I don't really make an effort. It's usually word of mouth. Like if someone else says, hey, you got to check out this. And then I'll go, what? Or, or they come on the stream or something. I'll be like, wow, you're actually a really good artist. So I've discovered a lot of artists from just streaming, actually, and people communicating with me. I'm not really ever actively pursuing it, though, because I'm so busy just trying to get my stuff done. Richard Smith asks, should you overlay the Eisner Award logo next to the Coffee Talk Comics logo on the bottom right of the screen? Oh, yeah, I guess that would be a good idea. Bottom right somewhere. Yeah, I need to start thinking that way. I need to take advantage of this, especially before they take away my award, my nomination. Let's see. Trevor. Oh, wait, what are you? Jackie was Batten's wife. And he was my boss in San Diego. Ah. So you're the reason I got the not. You blackmailed her. Hey there, Skits. Hey, welcome, guys.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, how are you?
Thanks for
Hey, you're doing great.
It just I'm not a random girl.
Just what?
I'm not a random girl. I'm part of the Skits team. I'm his wife, Arshina. I mean, let's keep it real. You like
I understand. I get it.
Yeah, this is my editor, co-writer, and also all the marketing and back end stuff.
Awesome, man. That's a good combination.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Also, she's the talent. I mean, she's the real on air talent.
Stop.
Just this way you can actually.
I know how that goes. When I bring my wife on, the streams actually come alive and people comment and they give it a thumbs up.
It's the energy. It's an energy. It's like a
Right. It's so true. Yeah, we actually had a couple streams where we're like, let's just, instead of watching TV, let's do some late night streams where we're just talking to people. And that was pretty fun. But then, you know, like all streaming, you get tired of it after a while.
Yeah, we've seen some of your late night streams.
Yeah, we've seen them with your wife.
You're like eating. You're like getting your takeout. I'm like,
no, that was all her. See, she brought the food and the candy and the drinks. Like we made drinks, and we're all getting like, yeah, guys. And then I remember the one time I was going to start playing guitar, and then the stream just cut out, and everyone was like, "What?" That was nice. So.
Well, thank you very much for having us. Thank you.
Thank you. This is really kind of you for having us on here, man.
Oh, you're welcome.
Looks fine.
So your book is amazing looking. Tell us about it. Tell everybody who's watching about it and why they need to check it out.
Well, Skits is a book about a guy who can't tell the difference between his dreams and reality. Now, that's the simple elevator pitch. Now, there's all sorts of convoluted, there's stuff going on and craziness in here. But the big thing that we're doing with our book is there's 3 books, there's 3 covers, and there's 3 variant stories in them. So that's really the big thing that we're doing here. There's stuff, there's plots, there's twists and turns, there's all sorts of nifty new heads that's going on in there. And
but if you just get the one book, it still completes the story.
Yeah,
like,
you can
don't
read
feel like you've left
any
something
of the
out.
books you can read by themselves, no problem. But for those people who really like plot twists and all sorts of craziness and stuff like that, we got 3 books, 3 different things going on. Plus, it comes in a nice Skits band signed and numbered edition. You know, it's wrapped up, it's real nice, and all sorts of stuff. You know,
Like an original. And hello, did you not see the cover art? Kent Williams and Patrick Reynolds, as well as with Michael. So I mean, that in itself is like getting a piece of fine art, you know, on a cover. You know.
Yeah, it's definitely some cool stuff.
That's great. Oh, we got a bunch of images here we can click through.
Mm-hmm. And again, the idea is to complete the journey. It just depends on how you get through that journey. So if Michael's cover goes through by land, Kent's goes by sea, and then Patrick goes by air, but you still arrive at the city, it's just trying to find, okay, you know, so which means you can complete it with just one but all 3, it still ends up, you know, at the end, a completed journey. So
yeah, that's great. So for a newcomer, what is the tier that you would suggest they get?
Well, if you know you're one of those people that are really interested in thick plots and thick story and all sorts of interesting stuff going on, I would go ahead and get the featured tier because that's really going to give you everything. But if you just, you know, if all you can afford is just one book, just go ahead and grab whatever cover, you know, fits your fancy. You know, each one can be read as a standalone. It's no big deal, you know.
So the featured tier, which is the 3-book journey, we feel like that will complete it because Skits is 1 out of 6 books. So that's how crazy it is. And they're all each 60 plus pages.
Yeah, this is just the first one right here. So we got all sorts of stuff planned. We have it all written out. Let me just tell you a little bit of how this story came about. So 20 years ago, I was working at a TV station and I was working the graveyard shift, the midnight to 8 a.m. And what ended up happening is my days and nights started merging together and stuff like that. And I ended up having these sequential dreams that lasted for about 2 months. And I was fresh out of college, out of art school. And I started documenting them, you know, putting them down in my sketchbook, writing them, laying it all out. And now, 20 years later, I decided to actually, you know, tackle this project and make it come to life. So what you're seeing right now is really a journey that's taken me about 20 years to get to.
It takes a marriage, basically. That's what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
It takes a marriage to get it together.
Yeah. So you might have explained it a little bit, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. So you have 3 different variant covers, but they're all 3 they're all book one, but they're different stories inside as well as variant covers.
Yeah, they're variant stories is what they are. We got 45 different panels in the book, and we got 12 different pages in each book that takes you on a little bit of a different journey,
like art pages.
Now, have you ever seen the movie The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Well, remember how he was trying to collect those books up because in the different books there were different drawings and different pieces.
Yeah.
So we're kind of doing something like that, where it's like, like different books will give you different parts, and it completes an entire story, an idea, an arc. So,
but it all culminates to that one.
It's like
story.
You get to the same place, but through different means, and there's a reason for this. Once we get into the second and third books, it'll all unfold a lot more. But the first book can still be read as an individual. You don't have to go through all that if you don't want to.
I see. Okay. And so the first book is any one of those three, though, really.
Exactly.
How crazy is Skits? Remember Skits?
I know it's Skits. Schizophrenic, short stories. I mean, that's what Skits is all about. I mean, it's just a time warp and all sorts of stuff going on.
And so the interior art is all by the same artist, or is it different artists?
It's just me. I'm the creator and artist. I do everything just like you do. You do everything. So
that's great. Okay.
Well, I do edit.
Yeah, she
again, I'm not random.
With the story.
Not random.
I'm sure you can realize an editor is a very essential part of putting any book together. I mean, for me, my mind is always all over the place as an artist. I'm thinking of this, thinking of that, doing these things. And it's like you need someone outside of that to really look over it, meld it, and put it together so that everyone can experience what you're experiencing without all the hiccups. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. And one of the main things, if I can interject by saying on our YouTube channel on Skits Comic, Michael does some art tutorials as well, basically giving free art lessons, which we want we want people to be immersed with us. So when they open the book, they can recall back, oh, that was when he did, this, or, oh, I remember that page. And you actually see it unfold. And we think that's the best advantage and a benefit for everyone out there.
It's just like what you're doing right now, working on your book live and stuff like that. Once we get past the initial stage of getting this thing funded, it's like that's exactly what I'm going to roll into. I'm going to be doing stuff online a lot, showing how these pages get done, different stuff like that.
Yeah. We just think it's a better experience for someone to not just, oh, your art's great, but like actually be with the artist and like, oh, wow, I didn't know it takes that much. Like your pencil, talk about product stuff like, oh, this brush is good. This pencil is good, just to help people along. Because you got people who also, are planning to do their own books or who are thinking about their own store and they, need a little help by saying, wow, I can do it too, Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's great. So this is some of your art then, right here on the inside the book.
Yep. Actually, all those big pages too are part of it. I'm kind of taking I'm doing a little bit like you do, where you do the big 2-page spread type things.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm doing a few of those, like that piece right there where the chair and the boot floating away from him. That's a 2-page spread right there.
And yes, those are characters, a boot and a chair.
Yeah, those are actually characters in the book. And then also those pages above it, those are full page pieces out of the book as well.
Okay. Wow. And so you're all done with the book? The art's all done? The story's all done?
No, I'm actually 20 pages in. I'm about 1/3 of the way done with it right now.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing and showing up for everything, because it means a lot. So.
Yeah, anybody who puts us on, I mean, y'all don't have to do this, and the fact that you are, I mean, thank you so much. It's so kind of you to really put us on like this.
You're welcome. Well, if any of you guys watching want to go to find Skits, the Mia Pet has put a link in the comments.
Thank
so
you,
you can follow that.
And if they want to, they can also play the quick little video that's up there.
Yep.
We're very cognizant of everyone's time. Like whenever we see certain campaigns, it's like, little bit longer. That's why our elevator pitches are very like a real elevator pitch. We're like, we keep it short.
Yeah.
Just hit them with the main stuff. Hit them hard and fast and move out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in LA, in Hollywood for long enough to know you don't have time to be going through a whole, if you want to go pitch it, you got to do it. If you were born in the 80s, you all know about having your boombox and get that cassette tape. You got to play it while the executive is walking out the door. So you know what I mean? I mean, that's what you got to do so they can be like, oh, that's good. So.
People online are like, boombox? What's that?
Right.
Yeah.
Abacus. Oh.
Yeah, man.
I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, remember on the playground, people would have a ghetto blaster and we walk around. And we're like, ghetto blaster? No one says that anymore.
Yeah, the old P-Funk.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But then people say, you calling me ghetto? I'm going to blast you right now. You're like, no, it's never mind.
Oh, man. So you guys are in LA then, I understand.
No, we're actually in the South. We met in LA, actually, and I've been there for the past, up until last year, until I got
15
married.
years.
So,
she's an actress.
It's ringing very similar to our story of Chelly and I.
Oh, stop. Oh, pshaw. Pshaw. I mean, I'm in the industry, so it's a new experience. I mean, I'm from the South. I'm from Florida. Moved out there, been blessed and very successful out there, and we got married, and now I'm back in the South again, which is, still good. And
we're in the deep South now. We live in a farm, on a farmhouse and stuff like that. I mean,
wow, that's great.
Yep.
Zombies come to us. They come to us.
So tell me about your career, or tell us about your career. Like, what kind of things do you do in the industry?
Well, if I may, you can IMDb me, but I've been in film and TV. My recent film I did with Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle. It's a horror film called The Black String. And my Twitter handle is @Kershina J, and the first thing on it says, yes, I'm the black girl who does not die in horror films. Because you know.
So you're an actress?
Actress. I actually have my own production company called Verse Films Productions, which, by the way, shout out to my crew out there. We just got into the Vegas International Film Festival, so we're excited about that. We just got our accolades coming in. But yeah, writer, director, the whole spiel. But mainly, you can find me in a commercial or two, or on TV, 24, or Everybody Hates Chris, or Shameless, things like that.
Wow, so you have quite the list going.
Live Free or Die Hard. Yes.
I'll have to look you up. That'll be fun. I was in a commercial. I was in a Sony commercial.
Were you really? Which one?
I storyboarded it, and then I knew that I was best friends with. Actually, the director came on this show. He was John Lindauer.
Nice.
And he was just like, I'm trying to find a guy that looks like you. And I'm like, well, I guess I could do it. He's like, really? He's like, all right, you're hired. And so I was one of the actors, and it was a big Sony commercial that they basically played it.
That is awesome.
Of a building in New York for a while. It was a long time ago. I have it on VHS. I need to break that thing out and put it on YouTube, because I was young. I was like 20 something. Maybe 25. I had curly blonde hair.
Oh, little curly cues.
It was kind of interesting.
Did you get those residual checks? Because that's the best part.
No, I wasn't that good.
You didn't get your SAG card, because anyone can make you SAG and start getting those residuals.
Well, I wasn't considering it as a career choice to be an actor,
right?
And so to me, I was a storyboard artist, and so we were doing art, and I worked with them on developing scripts and doing biz dev type stuff before I did biz dev for DreamWorks, and so it was just kind of a fun thing to do with a friend, but it was for Sony, so.
I do understand. That's pretty awesome. It is fun. Like I said, I've been, overjoyed with my career, and I mean, it's a tough. I mean, it's just really tough, even to get, even the behind the scenes jobs. It's all who you know and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So you pay your dues. Yeah.
You really got to work it. Yeah. So that's impressive, the amount of stuff you've been in.
Well, you let me know when you want to IMDb some more.
Yeah.
Beyonce Lemonade video. Just little things like that.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I have a huge list of commercials I storyboarded. It's just a ridiculous amount of clients and companies and people, but it's just, no one knows the storyboards. So no one sees that. So it just kind of gets lost.
Well, if you want to do something with horror with Verse Films, let me know. We'll get you out there.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah. Why not?
I have a horror novel.
See there?
I wrote. It's a little bit too edgy, I think, for the whole world. So I don't know what to do with it yet.
I'm putting it out there live. We can talk later, but our films, what we usually do is we're not the hack and slash. We're more the psychological horror. We can do that route. It's psychological.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking after the show. I love it. But I mean, psychological horror are the better ones, because those are situations where it can and it might, and sometimes if you dig deep enough, it has happened before. It just now it rolls into, will it ever happen again? Or, you know what I mean? And so if you're in the mall somewhere, I mean, we can't go to the mall anymore. My bad. Sorry, kids.
No, you can still go to the mall.
You can't go to the mall.
Malls are open here. We never shut down here, just so you know.
Anyway, but you understand, it's like if someone is watching you, those are stalkers. Those are real people that are really out there, and it becomes more real and more terrifying. And I like those type of horror films where things, might and can actually happen to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With a side of Jason and Freddy, if you want.
Yeah, I've never been into the slasher type, hacker type horrors. That stuff is so, I don't know. There's just nothing. It's just shock value, And
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
I get it. I see why it sells and stuff. But yeah, the psychological stuff always fascinated me. Even as a teenager and stuff. Like I like things like Jacob's Ladder and
yes,
Psycho.
Psycho was cool, and just weird things like Naked Lunch and weird stuff where you're like, I don't get it, but I think if I watch it again, I might get something else,
Right.
And it gives you nightmares, but you don't know why. No. So anyway,
but let me know.
Yeah, it's a sensitive subject matter too, so I'm trying to figure it out how to go about it. The first step would be just to try to get the book finished and just put it out there, kind of like under an alias name, and send it to a bunch of friends that like horror, that are in the same mindset as me, that agree with me. No, that kind of, that I feel like would get it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a niche out there, and believe you me, like even some of the scripts that I've written and directed, we just had one called The Dead of Night that was in limited local theaters in LA a couple of years ago, and a lot of people were like, okay, this girl's crazy, this girl is weird, but we love it. Yeah. Because it's that type of subject where you're like, oh, I see what you're doing,
Interesting. So. I'm gonna have to look you up. I will look into your list of accomplishments when we are done.
Yeah, and you got our email. Go ahead and email us if you still got it.
I do. I definitely do.
Yeah, man, I've been a huge fan of yours ever since your first books came out. I mean,
really, okay.
Yeah, I've been collecting your stuff. Actually, they're all on the back shelf right back behind us there. I got the Remunds, I got the Centros, I got everything.
And can I just say those books are heavy? Love it.
Yeah. It's a problem when it comes to like going to conventions.
Yeah. Well, you don't really do conventions anymore.
I don't do it anymore, and that's a big reason why is because now to get Cithra and Remind to a convention, it means I need to bring 8 boxes that are 50 pounds each just to get the whole series on the table, And so it becomes a logistic problem. unless
Yeah.
it's just local or close by. And not to mention the shows are so expensive now that,
Yes.
Yeah, and then you got to worry about going to the conventions where they have Teamsters, and they got to bring your books in, and you got to pay them to bring your books in to the dang convention.
Exactly,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Or I remember I used to run Comic-Con, so you can actually ask me and I'll get it done.
Who is the person that's done everything? Okay, you used to run what Comic-Con?
That and E3, yes, for certain things.
Wait, Comic-Con as in San Diego Comic-Con?
As in the SDC, not the whole thing, SDCC. No, like for Microsoft and
for Microsoft
and stuff like that, and other Artist Alley things like that. Oh yeah, I'm the girl to know.
What years did you do that for Comic-Con?
Between two. Well, black don't crack, so I'm gonna date my age now. So
it's okay. I'm an old man too.
No, it's between 2010 through 2015, 16.
So I went there in the small press.
Was I lurking in the background?
With Remind One. I remember because I was in small press with Remind One, and then I moved up to a booth when I had the second year I went there again.
Okay.
So it must have been when you were a part of it. So
I could have been.
Maybe I ran into you at some point. I don't know.
It could have been. Also, when I do it more with companies like Microsoft. So when you see like Microsoft in those booths, or like you'll see, some other companies like Disney or something like that, representing them, making sure their hours are good. Because, when you go down Artist Alley, it's like way in the back. Then you get all those screaming fans. Oh, look. And then you're like, okay, let's get security. So I'm managing those people and stuff like that. So it's fun. It's fun. So.
Okay, that's cool. So I wasn't that big of a deal. So you wouldn't have probably come into contact with me.
No,
I would have been the screaming fan. I would have been like, call security.
You're a big deal to us, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Well, that's cool. Well, what other stories can you tell us that the audience here would enjoy? And
her stories are a lot more interesting than me. I'm like you. I usually sit behind a desk and draw and stuff all day. I do product development for the arts and crafts industry, so that's pretty much how I spend most of my time. Dealing with Chinese factories and stuff like that. Making sure things are being molded right and going through the press properly, all that sort of thing. So
it's like when you go to like a Michael's or Joann's and you're like, oh, my husband did all this whole row, this whole section. Thanks.
Yeah. All my products that I work on usually end up in like Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, places like that.
What would those products look like? Or is it like just? I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Like,
sure.
Well, some of
that you did.
Are you familiar with like the craft industry with like scrapbooking, stamping, and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, usually I work with a lot of those companies on the back end to make sure that all those products are made. Like I'll design them, I'll create them. Some of the presses that some of the like paper dyes and stuff like that go through, I make that stuff. So, yeah.
So you're in a good position with to put out a comic because you have your hands. Both of you have your hands in a lot of different fields that are really going to help.
Exactly.
With your comic publishing.
We're trying.
Yeah, we're just trying our best. I mean, this is just one of those things where we're going to hop in. I've been wanting to do it for a very long time. I've done some books in the past, but this is me actually putting full forth a huge effort to actually do it and see what happens for real. Yeah. I think the time is right. There's a lot going on right now online, and you helped blaze that trail years ago, and so we just think the time is right, and we're going to give it our best and just see what happens,
Yeah, we love our project, and it shows. It's one thing when people are shilling, for their stuff. It's like, no, but we actually love it. We believe in it, and we're so excited to have everyone that's worked on it and supported it, thus far. We really are really excited about it. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yes,
Good.
Skits, the Sun Book 1.
Yeah, on Indiegogo.
Oh, Indiegogo.
Yeah. If you guys are just tuning in, check out the chat. Mia has posted a link for Skits on Indiegogo.
Thanks, Mia.
You can back up a little bit in the stream and hear a little bit about it too, and see some of the art as I scrolled through the campaign. And tell us your names again.
I'm Michael. And
Michael.
Yep.
And Karshina.
Karshina and Michael. Okay.
Yep.
The creators of Skits, right here. Right here.
There you go. Live and in effect, right in your little box.
On the Eisner Award nominated YouTube channel for Remind.
Boom.
Oh.
Oh, you didn't. I was trying to say it thinking everyone knew that already. Yeah,
I see.
Remind,
I like how you dropped it in. You were like,
Remind just got an Eisner nomination this morning.
That was
Nice.
smooth.
Awesome. Congratulations. Long overdue.
Yeah, it's 10 years late, but
Exactly.
I'll take it.
Yeah, man.
That
Little
was smooth,
accolade.
though, Jason.
Put that in.
Smooth.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. So it's just neat to have something like that. Like people kind of. That's why I titled the stream "Recognize."
you better recognize.
It's kind of neat to like have people in those positions actually acknowledge that you exist. You know, so it seems like for the longest time, it's just like, hey guys, look, and no one wants to turn their heads. You know, so it's kind of
yes. And we both know in the industry, that's how it is. So when I get my Oscar, I'll be like, Oscar on the Eisner winning show. You'll be like, yes. Or my Emmy, Susan Lucci. It took her 40 years. So
yeah. Well, good. Well, let's see. We are looking at Zach's screen right now in case anyone's wondering. Sorry, Zach. I don't know if you knew that. You popped back in. Oh. So
I didn't want to bug anybody with my loud chomping.
Oh, you're eating. So should I move it to Jessica's screen while you're eating? Here, let's do that. Oh yeah, and we were looking at Craig's screen. He was doing it looks like a Little Big Planet.
Nice. This is cool stuff.
Look at that. Craig can do animation too now. Master of all. He does our intro song, animation, comics. Yeah, so cool. All right,
I was muted there. I was talking, but you weren't hearing me.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I gotta fill in for Craig. No,
that's the character from my comic. That's the little alien character. That's the companion of the main character.
That's awesome. And you're actually animating him and making a little model for reference?
Yeah, I modeled it and animated it. I was originally thinking about maybe making a little 3D game, but I ended up saying, you know what? I don't have the skills to make a whole game. So I just animated it and modeled it. And now I'm just doing a little video just to show that off on my social media sites and stuff.
That's great. That's cool. All you multi-talented people. All right, Jessica, we're putting it back on you.
All right.
You're the one staying focused. We're all talking, and you're actually getting things done. Well, Craig is too. Sorry, Craig. You're getting things done.
It's not drawing, and this is supposed to be a drawing show.
Right. Well, doesn't matter.
Hey, Jason, we really want to thank you for being on, but we actually have another engagement that we have to get to, and we really got to get going.
Sounds good. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I'd love to have you guys on again. So before, maybe you can come on tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah.
What time tomorrow, or are you just going to arrange it all? Just going to arrange it. My people, your people.
I usually go live around noon Mountain Standard Time.
Okay.
I'll probably take a little break from streaming after this week. I'll still do it on Wednesdays, but I have a backlog of videos I got to edit and stuff for cognitive drawing. So, I'm just trying to get things done. So tomorrow would be great, and we'll talk a little bit more, get to know you a little bit more. And
we'll say hi in the chat, and if we're good to go, then we'll just pop right on in like we did today.
Sounds good. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for
and
coming
I
on.
love Little Planet. Yes.
Great to meet you.
Great to meet y'all, man.
Bye.
All right. So Jessica, is this just like a breakdown of her responsibilities of these different stars, or her explaining? Is
This
Stella
is-
explaining the planet system to the reader?
Yeah, this is a scene that comes right after. I will quickly show you where she's looking out at all of the amazing planets. And here, actually, I'll toss this in here. Should open up. So this is where she's commenting about space and how vast and amazing it is. And this is a page right after it. And this page, there's a little bit of reservation if I wanted to even do it in the first place, but I felt that it needed, sorry, it's a little hard to see the forest through the trees right now, but it needed an extra beat in the story before it moved on to the next topic, if you will. So I'm doing, it's like a little quick, she's explaining a quick guide to star comparisons, and she's going through, and this little dot here, that's the Earth, and this is our sun, and it just goes through the stars and the sizes of the stars, and really giving you a little bit of a bigger picture, quite literally, of the vastness of space. And this is our Milky Way. So I'm hoping by the end of this, I'm hoping also teach a little bit in this comic and portray why the vastness and the greatness and kind of what she's seeing, and educate a bit. So
yeah, that's
and
cool.
I'll see if it really does fit at the end of it. You know, when you're talking about sometimes some pages, you're like, do I really need it? Does it fit?
Yeah.
I kind of figured that I would at least make it. And worst case scenario, if it's like, nope, it's just not working, or I don't need it, I could probably recycle it and turn it into something else later.
Yeah.
But
you gotta try it to see if it doesn't work or it does work.
Exactly. Yep.
Where I've been with some of the pages I've been working on, I'm just Xing them out last minute and going, well, I could do that later. If I really want to come back to this town and explore it more, I can do that later.
Yes, exactly. And I'm going to drop into the chat. If someone wants something fun to look at, this is the little video about size comparison in the galaxy. So it's just kind of mind-boggling. I find it really fascinating.
Good. So Zach, how long have you been communicating with? I already forget their name. The skits people.
It was cool. I was on a show when I was doing the rounds of promoting Golma, and I was on a show called Red Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in the audience and stuff. But I've known about skits for a long time, been following it, and they talk about mailing list. I think they've had their mailing list up for almost a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
collecting stuff to get that going. And so I've been following them for a long time,
Cool.
and watching all the developments, and they kept promoting and stuff, and just cool people to,
Yeah.
So
yeah, they emailed me. It must have been a couple months ago when I wasn't live streaming, and they're like, hey, can you promote this or whatever, and showed me some information on it and where they're at. And I was like, yeah, well, just, once your campaign's running, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really live streaming right now,
Yeah.
So it's perfect timing now. I'm glad you pointed it out and brought him on.
Yeah, no, it was kind of interesting. This morning I woke up and I don't know if you know who Dan Fraga is.
I can't say I do off the top of my head.
He's kind of like you, where he does comics, but he also worked a lot in for film doing storyboards
Oh,
for commercials and stuff, doing storyboards and whatnot. And he's kind of bounced around in the medium and the media and a lot of different jobs and stuff. But a lot of people know him because he did a lot of comics and everything.
mm-hmm.
But he was on, and he's been streaming. He has his own show now, and they were on this morning. And I didn't know that they had finally launched. It was kind of like one of those things where I woke up and I was like, "Oh, cool!" This project that I've been hearing about for like almost a year. It felt like finally went live. It was super cool to watch them hit their goals really quick and whatnot.
That's cool. Well, there's punching pandas. Welcome, Nolan.
Congrats.
Oh, thanks, man. The true question is, what does it mean? What does it all mean? Will it change anything? Does it mean I've arrived?
According to Art, earlier he said that it just made him. I think it made him grumpier.
Made him what?
Having one of the being nominated.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it makes you more bossy.
Okay. I can do that.
People just give you things now, so expect free things from people now that you've been nominated.
I think he's already been going through that.
Free things with obligations attached.
Probably.
Here's our new free this. All you got to do is make 5 videos, a video series about it. And yeah. No, I started getting a lot of weird free offers right when I crossed $20,000 on my YouTube channel. There was just all these companies saying, "Hey, can you promote this thing?" And it was completely unrelated. I mean, you guys might have seen the YouTube video that I made where my wife made a refrigerator commercial.
Oh.
And it's because this company was like, "Do you want one of our fridges? If you promote it in a video, you can have one." And my wife was asking me to buy one of those fridges right before they emailed me for our kitchen. And I was like, okay, this is one of the only times I will do this because my wife actually wants this.
That's awesome.
And I was like, "Honey, if you make the commercial, I will say yes to this. If you don't make the commercial, I will not say yes to this because I don't want to make a commercial for this." Worked out.
That's cool that you actually got the fridge, though. It was legit.
Yeah. And then there was a time when it was around that same time, a lot of people were saying, "Hey, here's a product. It's like a Cintiq kind of replacement or Wacom tablet type thing,
Uh-oh.
And they all wanted me to send them to me and me to make a review video. I'm like, I don't want to do a review video of your thing that I'm not going to use. Stop. And then there was the one company, XP Pen or something. I think that's what they're called. They do Cintiq type things. And they were like, can we send you our XP Pen tablet display thing? And then you tell everybody that you did your new comic on it. And I'm like, well, I didn't do my new comic on it, so I'm not going to say that. But maybe my next one, if you send me something, maybe I'll see if I like it, because I do have some problems with the Wacom, the Cintiq. And they're like, "Great, what do you need?" And I'm like, "Well, it just needs to be this, 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 this." And they're like, "Oh, that's kind of more advanced than we're currently making. Maybe we can make you a custom one that fits all those things." I was like, "All right." If you send me a custom one that's like high def, like super high def, and this and this and this, I'm like, then I'll use it and I'll talk about it. But I can't guarantee it's going to be the best review if it doesn't work for my needs. And then they're like, okay, well, they're like, we'll get back to you when I'll talk to my the people, the designers and all that stuff, and see if they can come up with something for you, specifically for you. I was like, wow, I'm getting legit, But then nothing happened with it. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm not legit.
I use an XP pen, Jason, and I mean it works. It's fine, but I don't think it's not a Cintiq.
Yeah.
It's about
kind of what I figured,
it's about a third of the cost of a Cintiq,
yeah,
but it gets the job done. It just doesn't have all the bells and whistles.
yeah, okay. Well, it's kind of what I was expecting. I've played around with some of the Cintiq replacement type things, and because I've had assistants come in here and help me, and some of them have had different kinds, and so I'm just like, yeah, I get it. Some of them might work really well, but I'm so spoiled with some of the things I've had over the years that it's not like never having it and then getting something for the first time. A little different.
I think the big thing with Cintiq, I mean, obviously you're paying for the Wacom name to a certain extent, but you also have, from what I understand, the screen has a bit of texture to it.
Yeah.
And so when you're drawing, you have that bit of resistance.
Yeah.
The XP pens that I have doesn't have that. It's just slick. It's really slick, which I find it makes it difficult. That's why I have issues, I think, with inking sometimes, because there's no resistance on my pen.
Mm-hmm.
I have to use the stabilization in the software to try and get a clean line. And the other piece is around the drivers. A lot of the big software companies don't support the XP pen drivers
really? Okay.
quickly. It doesn't happen quickly because they're not as big a name. With Cintiq, if you're using Adobe and you're using Cintiq, Adobe's going to make sure their products work with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I've had so many annoyances with Cintiq, but and then having to pay that much money for it too. But yeah, I'm happy with it now. I had to make some customizations, like I actually stuck some Velcro onto the side of my Cintiqs, and then so I could Velcro the little remote to it, because it would just keep sliding and falling off, even though they advertise it as it will not move. It's just like things just like sliding off my screen every 5 minutes. I'm like, how can someone work like this? So anyway, annoyances that aren't whatever. It doesn't matter. But I've gotten used to it. The other thing that was annoying for a while was the remote would disconnect from the Cintiq, and then I would have to figure out how to get it reconnected. And I've been through hours of customer support with them to try to figure out why. I think we got it now, so it's working. I don't have to complain about it anymore.
You have a remote with your Cintiq?
Yeah, the bigger ones have it's just the buttons, instead of them being on the Cintiq itself, it's a remote. So you have the buttons on this device that's supposed to be magnetically can attach anywhere to your screen, but it doesn't. The magnet's too wimpy, and so it slides off my screen every time I stick it on there.
That's why you need one of these. No, Andy. Sorry, I'm like the good news about the gamer pads.
Well, I like having it on my screen like the old Cintiqs. That I really like that, just being able to, because it's where my hand naturally rests.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I don't have.
So having it on the desk is annoying. It's because I already have my hand on the keyboard some of the times. What you have, Jessica, would solve that problem though, because it's all one thing instead of two.
Yeah, this basically is where my hand would be on the keyboard. My left hand, it's instead comfortably by my side on my little gamer pad. Yeah. So it prevents me from having to reach forward and throw my back out of alignment. So everything is, I'm sitting straight. I'm not reaching over anything, and I could do this for hours, except I need to eat at some point.
Yeah. That's the problem we all have.
I guess. What a problem. Sheesh. Silly bodies.
Not me. I just finished.
Ah. Is it like a gourmet handmade lunch or like a lunch bowl?
It was stir fried turkey
Ooh.
with some broccoli, diced carrots, stir fry over steamed rice. Done in a pot, by the way.
Yep, sounds gourmet.
Oh my gosh.
Craig got bounced. Sorry, Craig. I don't know what happened there.
That's okay. I don't have a StreamYard account, and I was seeing people in the comments asking me specific questions, and I couldn't respond. So I tried to set up a StreamYard account, and it kicked me out. But yeah, Joss, what was his name? Joss Coke or something. Yeah, I apologize for not responding. Anyway, Mia did it for me. So.
Sorry, I'm not paying attention to the comments better.
How dare you be
My
productive?
fault. Yes. It's bad.
Thank goodness for Mia in the background there.
I know. She's not even on the stream, and she's managing it all.
Mia's like the angel, the guardian angel of this stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh was asking what 3D program I was using, and it was Blender, and Mia gave him some information about it.
Thank you.
Hey, so do we ever come to a consensus on the thing that shall not be named?
On the name of it?
Yeah.
What it should be. I think we all agree that we don't like your suggestion. Sorry, Nolan. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't asking it to be that.
It was. I appreciate you being the only one to suggest a suggestion.
I know. I was like, I sent that email. I was like, crickets.
Yeah.
I'm trying to even remember what we're talking about, but now I know that like we can't see anything. So I'll just nod and yep.
I was gonna title this stream. What was I gonna title it? I was gonna title it something, and then I got the Eisner nomination email. So then I forgot. But it was something like, I forget. It was something like "Can't say anything, otherwise you'll be banned." Whatever it was, but I had a shorter name for it.
How do we know it's not the word banned? Like, well, they're talking about getting banned again.
It might be something as simple as that. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I kind of don't think it was the word that we were talking about.
Did you go back and?
I went back. Yeah, once I went back online, I went back and listened to it, and it's not like it was crazy, and even the live comments weren't that really crazy with it, you know.
But the C word, there was the C word.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't know. Someone made a good point. Was it one of you responding to the email where it's like, how does that group stream all the time if they're not allowed to use that word?
Oh yeah, I think Nick said that.
Nick, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure that they use that word to identify themselves. It's other people that use that word.
Oh, okay.
Like when they're talking about themselves, I'm not sure how much they use it. But
yeah, maybe that's it.
The fact that we're devoting a couple minutes now, it's like we're starting to go to that bannable area.
Yeah.
It's like there's a ticker. It's like, oh, if they go on for another 2 minutes,
Yeah.
we eject them.
it's just silly. Honestly, it's just silly. For your stream to get banned for anything it just baffles my mind.
That's kind of how it is for me too. I go on I listen to other things and see other YouTube channels and videos, and I don't understand.
Yeah.
Have you done any
This
research?
is sensitive and other things are not.
Like, is there a page that talks about what the algorithm picks up?
There's people guessing at what it is,
Mhm.
but YouTube's really secretive about what those things are. They just
So what you need to do is stream and then just say that word, that suspicious word, like over and over and over again. And no. And then you get that, and then do the next one and try the next word. Don't do that.
just keep knocking them off.
Yeah, right.
Not this one. Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one.
It was omelet. Don't say omelet.
Well, the second one was even weirder because all we were talking about is like raising kids and deciding if we want to have another kid.
The K word.
Zach, you were careful not to say any trigger words, and I don't understand why that one got taken down. And now Fuzzy's gone. Where's Fuzzy? Who knows?
Maybe it's affected by like the YouTube mafia police or something.
He probably got a knock on his door.
Can you go save him?
Secret police coming to get Fuzzy.
Save Fuzzy. We need to start a hashtag.
Fuzzy.
Save Fuzzy.
That reminds me of that one episode of South Park where it's the Halloween special and all the kids are in the bathroom and they're staring at the mirror and saying, "If you say Biggie Smalls 3 times, he'll show up." Biggie Smalls. Biggie Smalls. Oh, I can't do it, guys.
Biggie Smalls.
That was for Satan's Sweet 16 party, if I remember right. To answer the question though or to go back to that topic, I actually use a screen protector over my Cintiq. So it's like a thin film that goes over the top. So there's a little bit it's not quite as smooth as what my Cintiq came with. So there is a little bit of drag that works for me.
It makes it not as like slick and more sketchy like.
Yeah, and also over time, like I've drawn like the same area, so it kind of scuffs it up all the time. But at least I'm not ripping up my Cintiq screen, so I could just always peel it off and get a new one. But it was about $35. That was like several years ago.
Yeah, worth it.
I know that the XP pen, when I got it, I got the XP pen 22E, which was the Pro edition. And it came with a screen protector on it that had a little bit of grain to it, but immediately, as soon as you start drawing, it would scuff and it would distort your image.
That's not good.
So I ended up peeling it off because it got all fuzzy looking right away. So I just live with the glass, and I mean, it's not bad considering it's a third of the price. But it's not a Cintiq, and you have to be realistic about that.
There's always that. There's no such thing as a free lunch when it comes to buying equipment. It's like I'm always wrestling with like looking for the deal, but then it's like, well, if you just pay the full amount, it's going to cost more, but you don't have to worry about it. Like I was trying to buy a replacement power adapter for my MacBook, and it's like $80 for just the power adapter. I was just like hemming and hawing, like, should I do this? And in the end, I decided to pay the full amount. I was like, you know what? Let's just get the one that's certified Apple. Not have to worry about some guy who's gonna sell me some knockoff they found on eBay. I mean, I looked on eBay too, and I was just like, should I do it? I'm like, I don't worry about it now.
You get what you pay for in many ways. So interesting story. I was trying to buy a Wi-Fi extender here recently. And I found one on Amazon and it was like 4.5 stars. And I picked it up, installed it. It actually performed worse than if I didn't have an extender. And my husband and I were looking at it and he was like, babe, this has a 2.5 star rating on Amazon. I'm like, no, I made sure it had a good rating and I looked it up and sure enough, it had a 2.5 star. And and I noticed that like it was, made in like it was imported, and it was crazy because the only thing we could come to is that it must have had a lot of fake reviews, and they were like recently deleted, and all of the new reviews, which gave it 2.5-star rating, were in the last 5 days.
Yeah.
So I was like,
That's frustrating.
it was frustrating.
Yeah, you got to watch out for some of those vendors. Like there's some. When I was looking up the power adapter on the first place I went to was Amazon, and then they showed that the vendor was Apple. But looking at the reviews, you see that some people are saying, this thing works for like 3 months and then it busts apart. So like, I think it turns out it wasn't the Apple it was an original Apple. So I just ordered it straight from Apple's website instead.
Yeah, it's tricky sometimes. I mean, this one looked legit. I didn't look at the reviews, so that's my first mistake. But yeah, go figure.
You have to be so careful. Like I find myself when I go on Amazon, I really have to read the actual wording in the reviews. And if it just sounds like somebody cut and pasted it, I don't trust that.
A red flag too is when I was trying to install it. I mean, this was obvious. I was kind of looking at this being like, oh great, now I know what I just got. It said it's telling you to please. It started out so kind of like it's made in China, sure, and they said like please unbox the thing and please do this. And like, why would you say please? And the kicker is that they spelled please as PLS. So, like a 15-year-old make this product. Please.
Wait, that's not how you spell it?
Yeah.
And they put a smiley face at the very end of the guide, like the colon and the smiley. So reach for that return slip.
I mean, you can trust the weird IKEA graphic guy with the big nose. That's trustworthy. but if they misspell please, that's a problem.
Yeah. It was weird.
Because it was made in China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get stuff all the time there, but when it goes from a 4-star rating to a 2-star in like 3 days, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, good gravy.
I'm so careful, like with eBay. I'm very cautious around what I get from eBay because I don't know. I don't trust a lot of people. But I have a particular formula that I look for. And where I live in Canada, I don't unfortunately order things from the States. But if I can find somebody in Canada who lives in a rural area who doesn't have a lot of feedback, I actually trust that. Because I know it's just some guy selling his stuff. It's not a company. It's not a business. It's just some guy. And that's where I got my original Microsoft Surface Pro, and I got it for like 1/3 of the price that people were paying at that time. And that was 7 or 8 years ago. It's still working. It still works fine.
I can understand that logic. I mean, I know you guys have experience with this all the time, but I was dress shopping one time, and they have these like gowns that are like drop dead, like just amazing looking, and then of course it's obvious that they're all like superimposed all these different colors. You can get that amazing like gown and they just like color it on Photoshop, and the price is so telling that you're like, yeah, you're not going to get what you see in that picture.
No.
Oh dang it, it's on me again. All right, got before.
You wear it once and the seams will fall apart,
Or you pull. I got a jacket one time. I pulled out of the box and like it had all the lint from when it was made, just kind of like falling out like snow. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Actually, my wife got her wedding dress. I'm trying to remember where it was specifically, but it was something ridiculous, like something like $200 or like really cheap, right? And then and she was like pretty skeptical about it at first, but a friend of hers had recommended it, and so sure enough, she made the order, and then it like came in. It's like it looked perfectly fine. So we were like, okay. And then she went to go take it to a seamstress, and she took it to one, and it's like, you know, like a traditional one, and and then I think it was like $500 to do it, right? Because it wasn't, the China dress wasn't custom for her, and so she was like, she talked to her friends again, and she's like, she found this one like recommendation, and her friend had told her about like this Vietnamese woman somewhere, and like she just does it from her home. She did it for like $100, like custom, you know, and fitted it to her.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about dresses, but apparently that's really cheap.
Yeah, especially these days.
And I paid $1,500 for my wife's wedding dress.
I was like, I paid $1,500 for my own dress.
I was like, okay, here's
Yeah.
$1,500.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The wedding industry these days. I'm so glad when my husband and I got married. We got married about 10 years ago. And it was, I feel like, just on the brink of getting into this massive business. And I mean, we did a pretty good job at keeping our costs as low as we could. But now it's like, that would have been our, like, people starting. It's just crazy. It's just crazy how huge of a business it is now and how much money you can drop on all that stuff.
I felt like it was a huge business when I got married. I mean, I'm going on 10 years, and it's like, I think at the average cost for a wedding was something like $60,000. I think was the average cost.
What?
Yeah. Yep. Easily.
I don't even know how much our wedding cost. I had a budget, and I was like, okay, this is how much I can spend, you know. And then my mother-in-law got involved and was like, I'm going to pay for it, so I'm going to do it my way. And I was like, all right. So I was just hands off. And then afterwards, and I know it costs a lot of money. And then afterwards, she's like, oh, well, you guys should have told me you would have rather had a down payment on a house instead of paying for your wedding.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang it. I didn't know I had an option. I mean, I would have just gone to the courthouse. That's fine. But no one told me that I could do that. In the family, anyway.
It was a memorable wedding.
It was. It was really good, yeah.
All I remember from my wedding is that there was a dust storm and I had sand in my eyes and I couldn't see my wife.
Are you crying for joy? No, just sand in my eyes. Oh.
I spent $1,500 on a dress I can't see.
I think you look beautiful.
Yeah, great. And we got into the limo and there was no air conditioning, and this is in the middle of summer.
Where were you? Were you in Texas at the time?
Oh, I was in Albuquerque.
Oh, Albuquerque.
In the middle of the desert. It's a sandstorm, and I'm in a limo that has handcuffs on it. And the driver's like, yeah, where I'm from, this means good luck. I was like, where the heck are you from? I don't know if you ever told me. But yeah, no, we didn't have any air conditioning, and I had sand in my eyes, and there was yeah, and we couldn't roll down the windows to get air in there because there was this sandstorm. So that was fun.
Honey, if we die in this fire, it's been a wonderful wedding.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And then by the time we got to the reception, people had already eaten the food.
Oh no! Did you get to have?
The communication wasn't there.
Oh man.
It was quite an interesting. I'm not saying it was bad because I remember everything. Like I remember really weird specific things because of all the weird things that happened. Like my friend apparently saved my wedding because my mother-in-law's dress got caught on a nail that was sticking out of the side of a building. He had his handy dandy toolkit where he could pull it out and cut the nail without cutting her dress, and he had it on him. So apparently he saved my wedding by doing that.
Ah.
My mother got caught by it. I was like, okay.
You just so happened to carry that.
Right.
It was staged. It was
Probably been to like a few weddings and like this is a good tool to have. You never know.
Hold on, I need to get my wedding saving tool.
Ah. Nice. You're welcome. I feel like our wedding went, we really enjoyed how everything went. It was actually fun, which like we could enjoy it. We made sure that we ate some of the food that we so meticulously planned and actually paid for. So that was like, yes, we got to like enjoy the stuff that we planned. But it's always funny what comes out of the woodwork afterwards that you find out what actually happened at your wedding because you're so busy. And I just remember that I had this friend that brought a guest, but no one knew him. His name was Juan, and he like helped himself to all the champagne and just like he's just kind of our word for the wedding. Like, remember Juan? Like, who was that guy? We don't know who he was. But he was entertaining. And he was like coming up to us being like, you guys are so beautiful and we love you. And I'm like, boom, like yeah, nice.
Who's that? Was the name?
So he's pretty much a wedding crasher, is what you're
He
saying.
was an unintentional wedding crasher. He was apparently a +1, but I think she kind of left him and like didn't even come back for him later. So we're kind of like, what about Juan? What happened to Juan? Who was that? It was mild, nothing crazy.
Those are the stories that you remember years later, though.
Yeah, exactly. And wonderful family being like, yeah, we dealt with this stuff. We let you guys enjoy your day. Thank you.
See, my wife and I were together for a number of years. I missed the beginning of the conversation, but my wife and I were together for a number of years before we got married.
Mm-hmm.
And we were living in the Northwest Territories and flew back to Nova Scotia, and we kept it secret from her mother. And we had the wedding in her mother's backyard. So we just arranged it like, oh, we're just coming for a visit. Let's get all the family together. And so we convinced everybody to come, and they all showed up. And then the Justice of the Peace came in, and we introduced her to my wife's mother. And we said, no, this is so and so. She's a Justice of the Peace, and she was just completely clueless. We're like, we're gonna get married. And she just started bawling. It was the greatest moment ever.
Like, I am happy for you, or I'm so mad at you right now.
No, she was happy. She was very, very happy.
That is super cool.
We're here for a barbecue and a wedding, I guess.
Oh, well, that's the thing is like we couldn't get all dressed up or anything. Like I was wearing shorts and sandals, I think, but it was all for good reason.
That's great. I'm glad you took it that way, and I feel like some people would be like, "What?" You can't do that with everyone, but that sounds like she's chill.
No, she was very pleased.
Aw.
Cool wife for letting you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking back, I probably would have gone for a smaller wedding, but part of the why it was big is because I was the first one in my family to get married, so
Yeah.
it was kind of a big deal. So, I mean, we could have. I think we had just shy of 300 people at our wedding.
Wow.
Wow.
Just to temper that, so like that's actually kind of about average size for like an Asian wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we didn't do like the whole Chinese banquet stuff because that would have been like ridiculous. But usually it's like, I mean, one of my cousins, like his wedding was like 1,000 people. Like they just took up like 2 hotel rooms.
Goodness.
Dang.
It's like you got to invite everyone that follows you on social media in order.
Yeah.
It's actually family. So like 100 people alone is like my family.
Wow.
My big fat Asian wedding.
Yeah. Then all my other siblings are like, nope, we're doing like smaller deals.
I love weddings. They're fun. Agreed. It's funny because I was just going to say on a related note, when we send out Christmas cards every year, we meet so many people over the last 10 years after moving so much. So we have like a ton of cards that we send out, and it's so like it's amazing how it accumulates. And it makes me think with weddings too, it's, you know, you should invite this person, and you know, if you invite this person, you need to invite this person, and it gets massive quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're gonna say something?
Not me.
No.
What?
Good test.
Well, they had we did. Oh, is that the end of the stream?
Uh-oh.
Shut it down right now.
Already?
Well, I actually made progress today, you guys.
Is it time to go home?
Well, we could keep going a little bit, but I will stop probably in 15 minutes. How about that?
I showed my son a clip from. He's been loving the songs from Mary Poppins, and it was there's that laughing song, and then I finally decided to show him like some of the clips from that movie, like with the songs, and I was playing the laughing song, and you know, it's like I forgot, like in the end, you know, you guys are all familiar with that scene, right?
Which one are we talking, the new or the old Mary Poppins?
The old one, the one that's the only one worth watching.
I've never seen it.
The new one, what?
Nope. What? No.
Wait, you've seen the new Mary Poppins, but not the old one.
Maybe. Sorry.
Go back and see the new one, or the old one.
You gotta see the old one.
No, you can keep on. It's all right. It won't spoil it for me.
Well, it's so there's a scene in there where there's a guy who's laughing all the time, and when he laughs, he ends up floating all the way to the ceiling.
Okay, I've seen like clips though. Yes.
Yeah, but the way that he gets down is that you have to say something sad, and so but they can't get themselves down because they keep making jokes and laughing and going up. But the thing that makes them go down is like Mary Poppins looks at her watch, and then she says, "Oh, it's time to go home," and it's like, "Oh, do we have to go home?" And then everybody sinks down.
Yeah.
And I remember this, like, you know, like when we all playing at each other's friend's house, it's like, "Oh, it's time to go home." It's like, what?
Oh man, that phrase was just like strike fear into a little kid's heart. Like, no, we're not done.
Yeah.
Oh, but the new Mary Poppins is done. It's a nice, shiny looking movie, but it's, I don't know. I think it's cold and soulless.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
I have a lot of issues with that movie.
It's okay. It's like me in Star Wars, so I get it.
It's like, I don't know. It's one of those same issues where it's like there's no risk taking, really. Like you see all this talent, you see all this, you know, all these people in here, and it's like, I don't know, you could have created like a different movie and not call it Mary Poppins, and I would have been just fine with it. But
yeah, but then you get like the backlash from all the people who are like, "This is so different," blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have like those type of conversations for decades.
For having never seen a first one, I thought it was cute, but
yeah,
I'm soulless, so I don't know.
It was cute and soulless.
I'm very like I get on a high horse sometimes when it comes to this sort of thing.
Well, there's something funny about when the first exposure you have to something becomes your idea of how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I find that with music a lot. The first version of a song you hear, if you like it, that's the way it should be. And if it's a remake and you go back and you hear the original, you're like, well, that's not right.
Or you find out that the lyrics you thought were then actually wrong, and you're like, nope, this is how it is. Like, I don't care if the lyrics are wrong.
Yeah,
man, yeah. But I always I can't remember any songs, but the lyrics I would remember would just not make any sense. And then I realized, oh yeah, I guess it makes sense. Why would I ever have thought that it was, you know, that?
There was a really funny comedian that did I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. I haven't searched it recently, but he basically had a recorder in his hand that he played into the mic, and he would announce what he thought the lyrics were, and then he would play a snippet of a song. And because he told you what he thought it was, that's what you would hear. And it was so funny. It was so funny.
It's true. It's power of suggestion.
Yeah, once he told you this is what I'm hearing, that's what you heard.
Now on out. And then once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
You can't unhear it, no. Forevermore. Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, to also be fair, like that Mary Poppins movie is adaptation of the books, right? And so it's not even like I haven't seen the Saving Mr. Banks movie, but I kind of get the sense like it's kind of feels a little bit like propaganda, but like they didn't even show Walt Disney like smoking, from what I hear. They just showed him like coughing off screen. I'm like, dude, that guy was like a chimney.
Mm-hmm. Everyone back then.
Yeah. I think though that I don't know. But as I get older, it makes me more interested in like the source material, because I think once you start removing yourself from the original material, once you start going several degrees further out, it's completely different, right? I think, and yeah, like I remember when I saw one of the first formative movies was The Little Mermaid for me, and it was like, of course, it's a great work, right? And then I remember later, maybe like a year or two later, I saw this the Japanese version of The Little Mermaid story, and it was, and in that, first of all, it was like done in kind of an anime style, and it was, there's no singing in it. I think even at some point, like she's not really censored, and then in the end, she turns into sea foam and dies, and I'm like, wait, what is this?
The original version.
Yeah.
Of Hans Christian Andersen.
But I think there's some value to like what that original story was trying to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you compare it to what the Disney version shows, it's like it's completely different.
Right.
There's no consequence to the actions.
Yeah, no, she gets married.
Gets married. By the way, Hector.
So I did not see that movie until college.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say to Hector in the chat.
Sorry, what was that?
This is my screen. Hector sometimes goes up on my.
Sorry, I'm not putting the little banners up. Sorry. There.
I would appreciate before we log off if Jessica and I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Punching Pandas. What should I call you?
Call me anything you want.
I'll just call you Panda then. You guys weren't there last time I was on, and I was struggling with a layout, and Zach and Jason were giving me some advice on it. So I've reworked it. I've completely reworked it.
All right.
And I would appreciate any input if you feel like it's better or worse. Should I scrap it and start all over? Or
okay, let me get this off. Craig. Okay, there we go.
Remember, I had that sequence of motion where she was leaping into the air and then striking, and it was all moving in the same direction. So I switched it now, so there's like a change in camera angle. So the second panel is the strike.
Yeah.
Does that read better? Does that?
Yeah, definitely. It feels like a follow through for sure.
Yeah, the
I
only
didn't see it before though.
them so that they're not on the other side of, like, they're going through him right now.
Yeah, the staff has struck and passed through, and he's just reacting to it.
Well, I mean, like, it looks like his head's getting cut in half.
Okay.
Because lines are on our side and not on her side.
Okay.
Like I would just erase where his head is and
Fade those movement lines a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
because then it'll read that she smacked his face on the other side.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's great.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Thank you.
I like the sequencing of her jumping. I will say I thought it was a continuous double page spread because of the cliff. The crevasse looks like it will actually join. So I thought jumping and then kind of turning and hitting him rather than a different camera angle. I don't think it's a problem, but if you want it to really drive home that it's a separate camera angle, that the crevasse in the page on the left, I would make sure it doesn't meet in the middle with the other crevasse and maybe angle it so it's
Thank you.
that you're looking at one camera angle and then you turn to another camera angle.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying because it kind of looks like a continuous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. No,
Which also looks cool too, but it kind of depends on which way you want to go.
No, yeah. If I change the perspective a little bit in that first panel, it would read better.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Okay. Cool.
And
awesome.
one more thing I will add is, again, this might be because you're still working and coloring and everything, but and maybe you plan on this when she is jumping and you see her on the ground, her leaping off the earth, and then her in the air. Those first two, which are transparent,
Mm-hmm.
I would make the one in the middle maybe a little less transparent because I just couldn't see them as well, and you don't want them as opaque as her in midair, but
Mm-hmm.
I would just play with that because if you squinted it and look away, I think it would help drive the sequence of frame by frame. Like the first frame is the most faint, and then as it gets closer to where she's midair, it's
Becomes
a little solid.
More opaque. Yeah. Okay.
A little
cool.
bit, not too much, because you still want the focus on her, but I like that.
No, that's awesome. Thank you
Cool
so much. All right. I appreciate all the input.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here I got my new the punching page done.
So much punching and hitting right now.
So that's where we're at now. I think I'm done.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that looks great.
I took out details. I put it back in, took it out, put it back in. Whatever. That's just where it's just going to be. Like with the shadows,
Coming out of his eye, he's like.
Yep.
So I like it.
I think it's great.
It works.
I like her rendering and the way her hair and the shadows on her face turned out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't know if you want to make sure his hand is a little more not blending in with her dress.
Yeah.
It looks like it could be fine, but if you want to have that faint outline of like a little white outline just to differentiate some fingers.
Yeah, might have to do
It looks just slightly unfinished, but it's I would say it's also passable.
Yeah.
The punch looks amazing, though.
Yeah.
Like that looks really good.
Good. You can see the page before it is.
It's not good for him, poor guy.
See, he's talking. Okay, so this is what's happening. He's talking about that he can hear voices, and she's like, "Oh, I see. What do they say?" And in this bottom panel on the left, he's like, "Follow the girl." And he's using his hand to kind of emphasize like the mouths talking. We have a secret. And then he listens. Inside her backpack, the prophecy is with her. And then he goes, and then sometimes they say some things like, "Kill it before it's too late." And then it goes, "Oh, sorry about that." And then she's like, "One of them just told me to punch you. You wouldn't imagine what else they said, but I'm not going to let them manipulate me anymore." Good thing we both have this common sense to know when to ignore the voices in our heads, right? I gotta go.
That is awesome.
Okay, bye.
So, anyway, I'm really happy with this.
I love how moist you made his mouth look.
It is. It's very moist.
Too bad Fuzzy isn't here for this.
Yeah. He would not approve.
I had to say it for an homage for him so that he knows that we're thinking about him.
Yep.
Just one last thing, and again, feel free to reject this, but Her hair looks a little lighter in the right hand page. Were you going to darken it up a bit?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter too
Okay.
much. I was thinking of darkening the tips, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it kind of, again, it goes back to the thing where like she's the only girl, so I don't think anyone's going to be confused as to who. If you like for instance, here, her hair is almost white, almost light in that top frame.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it just would be all black, and it would take away.
And then it's hard to distinguish shape.
Yeah.
I ask because I run into those issues every now and then where it's like, it has to be this color, but I can't distinguish it from this if I put it against this. So what do I do? Stay true to the character, or should I like fudge it a little bit?
The contrast is really nice, like in that upper right hand panel, like the contrast of the hair against the hood makes it really stand out.
And you don't want to make it too dark because then it will be kind of like the cloak too.
Yeah. Sometimes I like the lines, even though I know it's supposed to be black, and so it's a back and forth. It's a debate every panel. Like, what do I want to do?
It's nice to know that you can take some artistic liberty.
Yeah, really. That's what's neat about comics too. You can bend all the rules.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the way the light is hitting her, it can look a whole lot of different ways. So
yeah, that's true. Very true. All right, Zach, I haven't had any streaming. Sorry, Zach, I didn't show your stuff at all this stream.
I was playing around with some wild colors because it's this really weird part where the the immortal guy, starts freaking out because of reasons, and he has to get the thing around his head basically is what's making him go crazy. So it's ripped off, and then from there the world kind of twists because everything looks normal until this point where he basically explodes, and then it has this kind of like trippy point where all the colors get messed up and everything, and he can't tell what's going on. His reality starts bending. So I started like really kind of wide shot, crazy color scenes and stuff where things are going on and whatnot. And eventually I'm trying to get it down where he basically like passes out, and he gets noticed by these weird creature things that are kind of creeping up on him. And they don't know what's going on. But,
wow, that's cool.
I was trying to figure out a place to put hot pink in the comic. And this was like a perfect opportunity to contrast it because it looks really cool, like, as a spread, like that hot pink contrasting with all the neon blue.
Yeah, great.
Work when it comes to printing, though. It's my big worry. I'm starting to think of now, like how do I make this stuff work when it comes to making a print. So,
in Critta, do you have the ability to see what the CMYK outputs would look like?
Yeah. So,
because I know in Photoshop,
doing the other one where I didn't have to worry about it though, because like you said, everything prints in CMYK, but the digital printers, they just handle
they knew how to do it. Yeah.
So it's like, so I wouldn't have to go through the trouble of changing it.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. That's true.
Because
I never worry about CMYK when I'm doing the work. I only worry about it when I'm going to the printer.
Yeah.
So.
Do you ever find that you have to do any massive adjustments or changes when you do convert it to CMYK, or is it pretty easy?
There was a couple scenes in Remind that I did have to go into the art and tweak it a little bit it was in the underwater sequences, these certain pages where when Vittles was swimming with the mask on and the lizards were surrounding him, there was so much cyan in there that the glowiness of it kind of was gone, and so I had to compensate by slightly making it more white and stuff, and it matches really close, but I had to tweak it a little bit so that the output would work for CMYK. But most of my other stuff that I've done, I haven't had much problems with it, surprisingly. So, well, Craig left again. Okay.
That's nice.
So yeah, it's more or less the really vibrant, glowy colors. Like if you have things that look like fluorescent, then you're gonna have problems trying to find a way to make those look fluorescent on the paper. You know.
Interesting. And which I'm wondering if it's going to be good for me to figure that out, because I probably have a lot of that. But now that I'm doing a little more cell shading based stuff, I wonder if that will also kind of help me in the long run. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff you've shown so far has had beautiful, vibrant colors in it. It looks really nice, what we've seen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It really helped my submission, Jason, to the Sithor contest last summer now. Wow. Everybody sent it back being like, this is great, but it's not going to show up in print. And I was like, huh? So, I mean, but it was good because I started, and I'm still learning a lot, trying to pay more attention to the K values, if I'm saying it right, the darks, and trying to keep it a lot lighter. And so that's one of the reasons I'm going back and doing a lot of adjustments, is lightening some things up and demuddling my colors. Yeah. Trying to keep them pure.
Yeah.
Demuddling. I think that's my word for the week. I like that.
Use it for more than just art.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this thing up. So,
all right.
Thanks for hanging out. And you guys want to give a shout out to anything or anyone or your websites, anything at all? And let me look into the comments before we go as well. Make sure there's nothing I'm missing.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to actually type a response into the comments. That's why I kept getting kicked out, because I was trying to figure that out. Can't do it. I've got no place where I can type a response.
Here's a question, silly question. Do you keep your boxes when you buy new tech? I've kept my boxes for anything I get since I was like 11. It depends. If I really care about it, I'll keep the box. And if it's not too big.
Sure.
I pretty much keep the boxes for everything.
Yeah.
If you look in the background, actually, the two big black doors, that's all full of boxes.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, I kept my stupid Cintiq box here. The thing is massive.
Yeah, the Cintiq box is huge. Sorry, Steve, I'm just now wrapping it up. I just saw your comment where you said, let me in. Sorry, buddy.
Doing that in the Eric Andre voice. Let me in.
All right, well, that's it. That's it for me. So go check out Golma. This is Zach's working on Golma. You can order it on Indiegogo still. We got Punching Pandas. Nolan is working on Punching Pandas stuff.
This is like not a Punching Pandas thing.
Not Punching Pandas.
Just a commission. I need to wrap up.
Awesome.
And but you can visit Punching Pandas. I have a stream coming up at 2:00 here. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you can follow me and listen to me breathe heavily into a mic as I draw.
Good. And then we got Jessica. Excuse me. That glowy perfection.
I'm going to have to correct later. JessicaVanderPaul.com and VanderJess and on Instagram.
Nice. And then Craig, I don't see your screen anymore.
No, hang on. I can share it. Just give me a second. Share. That's because I got kicked out, unfortunately.
And we got Black Manic Arts.
Mm-hmm. People seem to really struggle with that name. You know, you guys talked about how you branded yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that name would be pretty straightforward, but people get really confused by it. My last name is Blackman, Blackman.
Mm-hmm.
I work in mental health, and when I draw, I'm a little manic. So I combined the two to Black Manic, and I thought that would be pretty straightforward, but people seem to struggle with it.
Huh.
Yeah.
What did they say instead?
Black Maniac.
Oh,
Yeah, actually, to be honest, like when I first saw your name a couple streams ago, I was going to say Black Maniac.
Yeah, it just seems natural. It just seems to fit. But yes, Black Manic. Actually, I just updated my art station and put some new images on that, so that might be something to look at.
awesome.
Cool.
Sounds good. And then who else we got? Oh, I guess we got everyone. And then there's me, the Eisner Award nominated artist.
Totally deserving.
That's so crazy. And we laugh every time I say it because it's so ridiculous. Okay. Well, thanks you guys. Appreciate you coming on the stream. We'll do one more stream tomorrow, and then I'm probably going to take most of next week off. I'll plan to come back on Wednesday though. So subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can be notified, or you can go on Twitch and subscribe there as well, or even Facebook, wherever you want. All right, guys. And we'll see you as soon as I get this button ready. We'll see you guys next time.